Welcome back to Rex Programming's Introduction to Python. In this lesson, we're going to be covering classes. Let's begin. Go ahead and open up Atom. In Atom, in your Rex Python folder, create a new folder called Classes. And in your Classes folder, create a new file called creatingclasses.py. Awesome. Creatingclasses.py is going to be a program to help you learn about creating classes, using class variables, creating constructors using the init function, and then creating functions. So let's begin. First, we'll create a class. And to do that, we simply type class and then name our class. In this example, I'll create a person. And I'm just going to pass for now, which does nothing. But I'm just doing this so that I can show you that now I can actually create an object like Bob and store a person class inside my variable. And this doesn't do anything because we haven't done anything in our class, but I can. And so if I were to say Bob, it would just show me that it's a person class that I created. Awesome. But what could I do with this? First, let's create a class variable. Every person has something in common. For example, we all are the same species. We are all Homo sapiens. So I can create a class variable called species and save it as Homo sapiens. And now every object that I save with my person will have that same variable. So Bob.species is going to be equal to Homo sapien because he's a Homo sapien. Very cool. So what else could I do other than create a species or create a variable? I could do what's called creating a constructor, which would allow me to then take parameters to play with in my class, kind of like I would in a function. But this is just going to use what's called the init function, _init. It comes standard with Python. It looks a little bit confusing, but you're just going to input the self, which just stands for the class that you're working in, and define _init under _self is just creating a constructor. This just means any parameters you put in, go ahead and use within the class. So, for example, I could say I want to get the age of a person and store it with that person. So I can now say self.age is equal to age, which is the parameter I'm taking in, and it's going to store it to my person self age. Let me show you what I mean. So Bob is a person. Bob's species is a Homo sapien. Bob probably does not have an age because if I run this, it'll say you need to input an age. Age missing. And so let me go ahead and give him an age of 10. And now if I run this, it'll work just fine. Bob's species will show up as Homo sapien and his age will show up as 10. So great, everything is working. A constructor will allow me to take in a parameter, save that parameter like 10, save it as age, and then call it whenever I need it. Cool. What else could I do? I can also create custom functions. So let's say a person talks and I want to give it that ability to do so. I can say define talk as the name of my function, pass in self to let it know it's a class function, and then print hi, I am talking. And now I can tell Bob to talk. And if I do that and run this, say bob.talk and run it, it'll say hi, I am talking, which is what I told it to do in my function. So a class can have so many different things. It can have variables that will be similar upon all of the same classes. It can have parameters that would be different because it's different depending on each person for what their age is. And then you can have functions that tell your class to do something based on what you want them to do. And these are a huge part of Python because Python is object-oriented programming, and classes are all objects with all objects inside of it. Variables, functions, and constructors. So that's it for today. Congratulations. I'll see you in the next video.